thumbs up, right? I'm sorry for standing between you and cocktail and you and lunch and you and dinner. I don't think it's been more profound than today. Because not only the people who are attending out here, but I think the panelists are hungry too.
No, another problem is they're going to bring the stage down. So this panel is going to bring the house down at the end of it.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. Today, since we already have the introductions done by this, I think there's something that is very close to my heart. And we don't have too many people in the room, but I just wanted to understand how many of you love earning loyalty points. Yeah, all of us. And how many of you love carrying the card every time that you need to, sort of redeem it? None, right? So one of the biggest thing that we are seeing out here is that how does one go beyond these loyalty cards to something which is actual loyalty of the customers, change it into something which is called customer engagement, and then possibly, make it something which is called advocacy. So basically what you're talking about is not only about having a loyal customer or an engaged customer, you're actually using that customer to be able to create advocacy for your products, for your store and so on. So what I will do is, I think I'll probably start with you, Belson. So Belson belongs to an industry which is clearly not retail. It's aviation. He comes from Jet Airways. And I was just wondering, Belson, in your industry, not that retail industry is not very cost sensitive, it's a very cost sensitive industry for you as well. And cost remains a very, very big driver. So, if I had Indigo and a Jet or a Air India, and there was even a difference of 500, procurement in my company would say take the cheapest. And in this particular scenario, how do you, make this change from a loyalty to an advocacy?
Yeah, very interesting question. Thanks for that. I think it's a while as an industry, as a domain that we do business in, it's extremely heavy on cost from operations point of view. But from a consumer point of view, it's definitely something a consumer is even ready to trade off for a 50 rupee differential if he gets, that's the level of discounting they expect. And that it's the same consumer who tries to bargain when he is trying to do commerce, trying to do transaction, whether it's through your offices or through online. But the same consumer, the way we see him behaving, the way we see him, transacting with us on a social channel, it's a bit of a different behavior. His experience or his expectations more is to engage. His expectation is more to get serviced, to get his queries addressed. So he doesn't really talk about bargaining, or he doesn't come to the social channels, at least the ones that we run, to look at offers and get some discounts. Brand advocacy and creating influencers has been part of our core thought process from the time we started social almost 4 or 5 years ago. And I'll be lying if I say that it's an overnight process. It's even after 4 or 5 years, even though we started on day one to create advocates and influencers, while we've achieved good success today, I think there's a long way to go. It's a long process to create even your loyal customers into influencers. And I think when you said how many of you want to earn points, I think everybody wants to earn points, but how many of you want to be loyal? I think there's a question mark there, right? So while we started creating a huge and substantial loyalty database, it's about 3 million now. The challenge now is how to convert these loyal members into influencers onto the social channels. And it's a whole lot of activities that you do, right? From creating content, engaging with them, letting them create content and give you that content to be put up on social channels. It's more of an engagement channel from our perspective. I think the last point that I would like to make is a conscious and a very successful effort that we put in is how do you get the social community engaged with you in an offline world? And that can happen only if you create some sort of engagements from online to an offline channel. You get more closer to your consumer and to the fans. And I think we've been able to create some of these consumers or guests into a bit of advocates for us going forward. But you need to sustain that going forward. As an aviation industry, there are a lot of areas that could be a wow experience from a consumer point of view. So how can you get them offline, let them experience, and then they go back online and start talking about it? And we've been happy to see that evolving for us.
Yeah, so anybody who, is actually like or a fan of, Jet, they also organize off-sites for a few of those people. So just make sure you catch hold of him during lunch. Okay, coming to you, Vineet, yet another industry, you were with Hyper, now with Bharti, very margin-focused industry. You have to be extremely, extremely, cautious about, where you spend, how do you spend. So tell us a little more about, what have your journey been like in terms of this customer engagement and customer advocacy, and how do you look at it from your perspective?
Yeah, before I talk about the journey about HyperCity and right now with Bharti Retail, I'll take from where my colleague from Jet Airways left off. The basic fact that yes, like you started off, it is now time. Most of the retailers have already realized that it is no more points, reward points that matter. We moved on to social media, and we also now realize that it is no more just the likes that matter. So initially it used to be just so many likes used to be a big feather in the CMO's cap. It's no more just the most number of likes that matter. It's also what your customers speak on social media and how much of it helps you translate that into real business. And the very fact the customer advocacy is not something very new, like we heard our friend from BJP also speak about how important it was to spread the network. So we talk about word of mouth. That I guess is the first mention of customer advocacy. And from word of mouth to taking it to a digital space to social media and having more customers speak about your product well is where we want to reach. Now, whether you do it through a Facebook page or whether you do it through a Twitter handle or whether you do it through all of these put together is how we have to figure out. Most of us have all of these done, so it's very basic that the moment, before you start a brick and mortar shop, you already have a Twitter handle and a Facebook page inside. But it is important that how retailers like us use this. I mean, you have to be continuously listening to what your customers are saying. You should be responding to them, like whether you do it, you take it offline and respond to it and close it, important that you attend to it. It's like I was mentioning to the panelists here that I recently saw one of my friends suddenly go onto the Facebook and put a very bad experience he had with a Kent purifier. So it's important that we as brands keep looking for brands being mentioned in all, keep listening. And the best thing that I saw was even before some of his friends could respond saying what it was, I could see Kent themselves come back and say, very sorry for your experience. Here is a phone number you can reach out to. And that immediately arrested that thing. Right? Then they took it offline and they could come back and close like, thank you for your feedback, and I fixed it. So it's important that you go very much take this, I'm sure everybody has taken it seriously, the entire social media. We have to now find ways to understand how as retailers keep looking at these data points, keep getting gather this information and work on it so that we use this and convert more customer advocates. Right? There are various things which I can talk about once, perhaps when I come to the second bit, I'll talk about more tools and things that we can use, but it's out there for each of us to use in terms of using the space to create more customer advocates and brand ambassadors.
Yeah, thanks. I think you just gave me the cue for my question to Rajiv, actually. There's this animal called social, and we just ran a very quick pulse survey. We'll publish that report in a few days now with the chief marketing officers, the CEOs, and digital and social came out as a huge animal. So, it was like three blind men in the room. They didn't know what they were holding out there. So when the customer comes to you, I'm very keen to understand how do they articulate this problem? What is the problem statement to you out there? And where do you start? Where do you advise them to start?
So I think, it's my 8th year of my business in social media. And when I started out in 2007, I think I was on a different planet. This seems like a very different planet to that one. I don't think we even got an appointment with a CMO at that time, right, on social. And I don't think it was even called social media. It was called